Cyclops ever, David.
Why are you have two eyes?
The tan line, David. It's going to look like I have one.
Yeah, but
it's going to just look like a white band of just paleness.
I don't know if that's
and then I'm going to be Palestinian from here down and from here up, Palestinian. But here I will be
Jew.
Southern Baptist.
You're going to look like you're going to look like the Gaza Strip.
I am the Gaza Strip. Look at me now. I am the Gaza Strip.
Ryan, today on the show, Ryan.
The weekly?
Well, the daily weekly show. Fuck it, we do it live. Biden's wait, I got a clip of I like this term, Ryan. How do you feel about media malpractice? Good term.
You mean propaganda?
No, media malpractice. Biden's
media malpractice, like they purposely misled you?
Yeah, something like that. Listen.
Like propaganda, David?
Well, because here's the deal. Jake Tapper has a new book out. Jake Tapper.
Really?
About Biden's cognitive decline and how it was a cover-up. So good job, Jake Tapper.
On what basis was I supposed to ask questions about the president's health, David?
Does it count? Does it count if you do it when it doesn't matter? Like if you lie when it's relevant and then after the fact tell the truth, are we supposed to give you brownie points? Because it won't.
I don't know. Did you read the 9/11 commission? Did you read the 9/11 commission report, David?
I'm not going to do it, Ryan.
This is blatant corruption at this point, eh? Government's not fixed at all, David. No Operation Mockingbird here.
We have an O'Keefe exclusive inside of Epstein's house. We're going to play that.
Is that the Bill Clinton painting?
No, but there's another one.
There's another painting, David.
Well, there's a different painting.
Surely a admirer of the arts. Clearly, David. Just an art
of the arts. Yeah.
They give me bananas in art studios, and he's got high class artwork in his little pedophile house, huh?
Well, we're gonna be heavy on this topic today because Tim Tebow was on the Sean Ryan show talking about.
Seen part of that.
The clip is something else. And again,
that's the Bible thing, right, David?
Yeah, and again, along the same lines, there's an article about some employees over at the Pornhub. Man, we're gonna read into that. Figured.
Should we keep watching porn, Dave? Is that what we're saying?
Nobody should watch porn. We're going to talk about the South African refugees because it's one of the things that people are talking about, and we have to be in the spaces with these people, Ryan. We can't, even though we're Ryan. Listen. I get it, but we can do two things at once. We can trailblaze.
That's why there's two screens, David.
Listen,
that's why there's two screens.
We can trailblaze and talk about. We could talk about things that no one else are talking about, so you can hear about it 6 months later on someone else's show. I get it, but we can also talk about the things people are talking about. We're going to talk about the South African refugees, right? And underground cities. We missed it last week. We talked about the underground cities a little bit, but there was a clip, and to be honest with you,
are the South Africans white? That's all I want to know.
Well, a lot of South Africans are white. Yes, I don't think they're all white though.
Nobody's all white, maybe. David.
I think it's a heavily white area. We talked about the underground cities recently because there was a clip of a former Bush official who was on the Tucker Carlson podcast talking about how did she phrase it?
Stole money and built a breakaway civilization underground.
Yeah, but it was like undocumented, untraceable
Bitcoin
rerouting of funds or something. They spent $21 trillion to buy underground cities.
$21 trillion just magically evaporated.
She said it in a way though, Ryan. It made it sound really good. So
they have everything in my Amazon cart I've ever looked at, but they don't know where the fuck $27 trillion.
No, can't find it. With that said, Ryan, what the fuck is this?
So this is one of the neat things about the U.S. Capitol. Of course, this building, construction started in the 1700s. And there are all sorts of little hidden passageways. You saw I just pulled this cover up. Yeah. And you can see if we get the camera to come over, don't fall in. We don't need a workers' comp claim today. But you can see there's a passageway. These are long stairs that used to
aren't old. Those are fucking new, dude.
We're just off of what's
Those
called
are-
the
God,
statute
three looks
of
pretty
frauds,
good, dude.
which at one time
old, dude.
was the actual house chamber. So, and it's outside there. But this is just an example of some of the little hidden secrets in the Capitol. And so one of the things when we bring tour groups in, if it's a small enough group, if it's a big group of people, but if it's a small group, we'll actually take them down this hall. Believe it or not, my big self have actually gotten down, and more importantly, out of this hall. I'm not going to debut that again for today, but suffice to say, I've been able to live and tell about it and get out of there. But it goes all the way down. It's an old staircase, and I'm told, I can't verify this, I'm told that this staircase, which opens to, if you go down, formally open to the outside, was one of the staircases that British soldiers used when they breached the Capitol during the War of I think it was 1814 when they actually attacked Washington. When they came in, it was one of the stairs that British soldiers actually came up. So a lot of just amazing history in this building. And so when folks come from North Carolina, we try to show things that once it's a small enough group, things are timed right, and actually let folks go down there. The kids seem to love it. A lot of older folks, not so much. But it's just one of the neat things about the Capitol, as well as the other day-to-day things that folks see all the time.
Yeah, just a little secret under the Capitol. Just, vast caverns of undergroundness, David. The British used it to storm the building.
Absolutely not. So I'm calling bullshit on that. If I read that correctly, or if I understood him correctly, is he claiming the British built some of those tunnels to burn down the Capitol? Like they built it.
I thought he worded it that those tunnels were there. The British used them to come. They went the other way. Either found them or were told and came up that way because they burned the White House to the ground pretty close.
Yeah,
or whatever.
correct. Okay, I could see that. I thought he was claiming that the British have built them, as if nobody would have noticed. They built tunnels and a staircase underneath the Capitol before they attacked it.
I mean, on what basis would I ask them, David, what they're doing outside the Capitol with shovels, pickaxes during a war, David? Clearly. Maybe we have to wait for the facts, David. Maybe it was just Veep, David. They got in there through Veep.
Yeah, maybe they just weren't. Yeah, maybe they were just incompetently. They couldn't find the doors, so they built tunnels underneath. Could be, Ryan. I don't.
I do like Patrick Bet David's point about this, about the whole. This is a form of loose lips. We know there are tunnels, but don't show it.
Well, this is they can't help themselves, right? This is the point Kevin made forever ago on our show.
Yeah. Well, it's also funny. He referenced that he could fit down in there, and I was going to make the joke, but the video kept going. It's like, dude, I never underestimate a pedophile's ability to climb in a hole to go fuck kids. All right, you creepy bastard.
Well, yes.
Not that he actually sleeps with kids, David. Clearly, that just doesn't happen. The rich and powerful people, David.
No, absolutely not. The thing that's interesting is if you really look closely at the video, the stairs seem to curve down to the left, okay? But then he makes a motion to the other side, saying like, "Oh, this even goes outside." And it's like, well, okay, where's the rest of it go? Like you only told me where some of it goes.
Do they connect?
If some of it goes outside, where's the rest going?
It connects, David. I mean, you can get through like the DC Mall underground, you know what I mean, to the Capitol building.
It's interesting. It's interesting to me. I just think the timing of it was interesting because that one was just on very recently, and then like a day later, bam, this guy's on camera for no reason. Like, check this shit out. It's like, wait a minute, what the fuck David, are you doing?
Well, of course, Dave, they got to get ahead of the fact check. So when you type in, does the government have underground cities? They're going to be like, well, technically, there's underground passages under the White House. Some would consider it the size of a city. You know what I mean? They're going to do their little technical foul bullshit.
Could be, Ryan. That actually
no, Dave. This is what we call greasing the skids. I'm pretty sure that's
the skids.
That's what they call it.
That is correct. That's exactly what we've been calling them for many years. Ryan, I do have to. That was just a quick, but I just thought it was kind of interesting. But can we talk about this? I'm right about this, right? This is Jake Tapper. Has a book coming out about Biden's cognitive decline. and I would just this clip came out, and this perfectly nails why no one trusts the media anymore. It just absolutely in about a minute is the perfect showcase for why people don't trust the media and why
Just
more people
NPR.
are in this.
Just trust NPR.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
It's very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have
to watch
no
somebody on
you
stage
I can't,
search for
this is so amazing.
questions
It's so amazing to me
and
that
try and figure out an answer.
a cognitive
Well,
decline. President Biden embraces his stutter, talking about it, while Trump mocks it, exaggerates it, belittles it. He's sharp physically. I mean, mentally. Yeah. I think the question is physically, right?
Right.
More so?
Right.
Right. And the guy who's his chief opponent is only 3 or 4 years younger than him.
Exactly.
I mean, you have questioned President Biden's age, mental fitness, ability to lead. Of those supporting Biden, you said, quote, "Shame on all of you pretending everything is okay. You're leading us and him into a disaster." Do you worry that you damaged him at all? I don't doubt that you got hugs and handshakes behind closed doors today, and maybe even publicly, some of them because they like you personally. But I've heard a lot of really nasty stuff about you from your Democratic colleagues. Sure. I mean, just like, what is he thinking? Exercise in narcissism. I mean, false claims to the Wall Street Journal about President Biden's mental fitness and acuity. He's 81, and his memory, it doesn't seem great. It's not horrible, but I don't understand the outrage. Quote, behind closed doors, Biden shows signs of slipping, unquote. The Wall Street Journal is owned by News Corp, which is run by the Murdochs. Beyond the headline, there is some critical nuance here. The article is mostly based on observations of Republicans, with former Speaker Kevin McCarthy the only one going on the record. They do know that most of the criticism comes from...
Yeah.
I don't ever want to hear that I'm not allowed to use mainstream news articles on our program again because we just watched a mainstream news article reference the mainstream news article about the mainstream news article. So, yeah, that's all.
Republicans. Have you heard any concerns from anyone who has met with President Biden about him seeming a little slower?
No.
The Russians are trying to make us and the public not trust our election integrity. Joe Biden has dementia, all this stuff.
Is he going to include that he was part of the cover-up?
Oh, that'd be interesting. That'd be real funny.
Isn't it crazy? You're
Surprise twist
directly
again.
involved. Directly involved with the cover-up, and then you're going to write a book to make money about the cover-up? It's like a 360, dude. And you got paid to lie the whole time? And there's no accountability.
Actually, Ryan, kind of a smart move on his part.
This is like when OJ's like, I didn't kill him, but if I did, this is where I would have put the body. Like,
if I
what?
did it. OJ,
If I did it.
This is the equivalent. This is OJ writing, if I did it.
If I did.
Yeah, if I did it, this is exactly what I would have done. The thing that's interesting, Ryan, if you're a man of
book, dude.
if you're a man of no integrity, like Jake Tapper or most of these people in the media today, it's a great way to double up because you scumbag and lie to everybody in America for years and years and years, and then you can write a book about it once you get fired from CNN. It's kind of the way to go.
Yeah, we fired him. Why? Hey, he just wasn't covering the news right. Like, you mean reading the teleprompter that you set him up to read? He did that wrong. He did the teleprompter wrong. Really?
I don't know if he's fired, but it is interesting.
Well, clearly, David, I don't think you write a book if you have a day job.
But AI can write it for you. It's one of those things, though, that
hey, Gronk, can you write me a story about President Biden and if there was a medical cover-up? Sure, Dave. Here you go.
And what did we have just recently about this? Who was the what did we just cover on this recently? It was somebody claiming that they had called it ahead of time or something. Was it somebody from NPR? Do you remember this?
Called what?
I don't have a good memory. Biden's mental decline.
Oh, when they came out and said that they knew the whole time.
It was
Jen Psaki.
Jen Psaki. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's right.
Yeah, look at you getting the fucking pipe cleaning, dude. They worked.
Yeah,
Your photographic memory's kind of clicking some screenshots, dude. Screenshot memory.
My memory's bad, but yes, it was Jen Psaki.
Full
She
RAM
was doing a
memory.
podcast, and she was like, "Oh yeah." You
So
can't-
this is now the second person, David, that knew nothing, didn't notice anything while it was happening, but now they're experts on the behind closed doors of a cover up of the potential, maybe,
that they were a
certainly
part
not,
of.
but is. We watched a guy fall up the fucking stairs. I don't need to know about the cover up. I knew you were covering. He fell up the stairs on the airplane. It was tragic. Tragic.
Like more than once.
He fell off the bike.
He fell
like
off a bicycle.
the bike. You know?
Well, he's 80
Remember
years old.
somebody like
Well, he's 80. You know, he's gonna fall a little bit, but he's still there. He's sharp. And it's like no,
No
he's
cover
not,
up
he's
here.
not sharp at all. Oh, it's just a
We
stutter.
should
No,
not have
it's
a
not a
se-
stutter. Dude, they
should
said
not
it
have a
was a
senior
stutter.
citizen
Like the
learning.
guy wasn't in government for multiple decades with footage of all of him for talking for decades and decades and decades. This guy has footage of him speaking for like longer than I've been alive, never once having a stutter. And then we were all supposed to believe that out of the blue, he now had a stutter.
Yeah, you stutter at 80, Dave. It's just what happens when you have
You just start stuttering.
congestive heart failure.
No one was making fun of his stutter. They're saying this guy is not all there mentally, and he's running our nation. This is dangerous. And then, then we were
just beep,
criticized for
David.
this. We were
It's just
criticized
beep.
for this, and then they ended up just pulling the plug on him. They pulled the rug right out from under him. They're like, you know what? Wow, this guy really fucking lost it. You don't say.
Yo, do you remember when we woke up the next day? I was like, yeah, Kamala Harris is the potential nominee. You'd be like, what? She
Wait,
never like.
the what? Like she didn't win a primary. Nobody
She
voted
wasn't.
for her.
We thought Biden was running, dude. I thought the Democrats picked Biden. No, just switcheroo. There you go.
And no one seemed to think that was a problem on the left, by the way.
Nah, what the Democratic Party, David? Obviously, very Democratic
The
process.
super Democratic, very Democratic lead.
Ultra
extremely
The
democratic.
meta Democrat, dude.
They waited until their primaries were over.
Yep.
And then they had one debate and they're like, "Oh my god, he does have a mental decline." Anyways, here's Kamala Harris, everybody. What? What do you mean?
Very democratic. We all
No
vote, and then
special
you
election,
pick
no
what the
nothing, no
fuck
nothing.
you want. Yeah.
Yeah, here's
Special
Kamala Harris.
election. Oh, why, David? Why special election? So you can prove that the woman has no fucking vitriol and nobody likes her and she's fucking terrible.
Well, no,
and they're
but
like,
then
yeah,
they-
we're gonna run this at
and
a
then-
national level,
And then they
and
tried
then blame
to,
white people.
and then they literally tried to psyop everyone because what did they do? They paid off people like Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B and shit to show up at her shows. They paid people to show up to events. They're like, "Oh my god, she's selling out arenas." I'm over here like I haven't met one person in my whole life who legitimately likes Kamala Harris. I've never met one. She just primaried in the last election cycle and was last. She was last, dead last. She didn't beat one person when she primaried. And now all of a sudden we were supposed to believe she was selling out arenas. It didn't pass the sniff test. People need to trust your instincts, trust your senses, trust your gut. This is why I say it. Trust your eyes and your ears. Use logic, because nobody would have believed that. Nobody would have possibly thought this was the comeback story of the year. Everybody all of the sudden loves Kamala Harris. It made no sense. And we were, and when, by the way, which is even more proof of this, when Biden was campaigning the first time, when he magically had more votes than anybody else on earth, his rallies
Most elected.
we literally covered one of his rallies. There was a story about it, and he had like it was like less than 10 people showed up, and they said, "Well, it's because of COVID." Because of COVID, there were less than 10 people showed up. Trump is selling out arenas.
People are driving 7 hours to
Oh.
see this guy talk.
Oh, well, a rally isn't really a good sign. It's not a good sign. It's not a good sign, really. If people show up to your rally, you think they're going to turn out to vote? If they're going to go out of their way to watch you speak, you don't think they're going to vote you? They're not going to go vote for you in inclement weather or whatever the bullshit the media tells you? People who are that excited to go to a rally randomly during the week are absolutely going
On
to
a
vote for you.
Wednesday, David? When I went to a Trump rally, it was on like a Thursday evening, David.
Trump's packing the house night after night after night. Biden had less than 10 people showed up. And then we were told Biden was the most elected president of all time. And then when we had election irregularities, if we talked about it on YouTube, it got taken down. I don't know. Some things don't make sense. And then they thought, shit, now we have to AI generate pictures, Photoshop pictures of her at a rally with airplanes and shit. The airplane didn't have any reflections. That was a conspiracy theory, though.
Didn't happen. Didn't happen, David.
Didn't
They would
happen.
never do
All
that.
this-
They
all
would
this
never
stuff came
forge.
out.
They would never forge a photograph, Dave. They
All
don't
these
even know how
people
the
came out.
router works, Dave. How can the government forge a photograph? They don't even know how a router works, right?
It's all Veep, Brian.
What's
And
the
then
router, Mr.
all the
Zuckerberg? Where's
celebrities
the
came
router
out.
hole?
All these celebrities came out and blew the lid off the whole operation. They're like, yeah, I was getting paid from the Kamala Harris campaign to show up.
Hey, do you remember when Dinesh D'Souza went to jail for violating campaign finance, contributions or something?
No, totally different. Yeah.
$1 million to Beyonce, completely fine.
Yeah, no, that's way different.
Just
That's
a
way
milli.
different.
A milli.
Crazy. Ryan,
The Republicans are the corrupt ones, though. The other thing I thought about when they say the Republicans, people don't realize it's like it's not even like regular Republicans. Like half of those people aren't even Republican. They just were like, fuck the government. Be like, I like this dude.
well, here's
Fuck. Everybody voted against what was there. You know what I mean? Like everyone's like, we have this, whatever's on the other end.
here's the problem. People like blank slate the term Republican. They're like, oh, all these Republicans. Between the two parties, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, there is way more infighting on the Republican Party than there is on the Democratic Party. It's way more intellectually diverse in the Republican Party.
Dave, are you saying that the Democratic Party is like a giant supermajority, like the state of New York?
They are. I'm not even talking about the party. I'm just talking about the people who support the party in essence, like the actual voters.
Yeah, supermajority. Just
Yeah.
fucking
Like
massive.
everyone in the
volume.
Democratic Party is completely lockstep. They might have some minor differences here and there, but they are like, all in all, completely lockstep. And the Republican Party is like, they're fighting over. Some Republicans it's like split. Like some Republicans really love the idea of giving a bunch of money to Ukraine so they can fight against Russia, and some people are like, hey, we should stay out of it. And it's the same thing with Israel and in Palestine. And I mean, I could go on and on.
Well,
about
Ben
all the-
Shapiro makes it sounds like it's everybody that wants this, David.
I mean, if that's not all you need to know, though, like Ben Shapiro and Donald Trump are both Republicans. Like we're talking about completely different people. I think it was Mark Levin. Recently, somebody threw around the term. I don't remember who it was, but the term neocon, right? And then Mark Levin like went off the rails. By the way, neocon is super common phrase. In fact, it was created by neocons, if I'm not mistaken. But it was.
Well, David, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't linguistically program a term to be used against them, David. Like they're fake opposition. They wouldn't do that to us. They're not that smart. They don't know where a router is, David.
Well, it's all Veep. It's all Veep, right? But it's interesting because Mark Levin, I think, recently said that neocon is like a dog whistle for anti-Semitism, which, fuck, dude. Speaking of cognitive decline,
so if you say the word neocon, what you're encouraging is racism against Jews.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because the assumption in his
maybe that's that new Kanye song. That's all he's trying. He's just neocon Kanye, Kanye, dude.
I think what he's getting at is neocon tends to come from people who are anti-war, right? So
if you're anti-war, you're anti-Jew now?
Well, because in the context, Ryan, of Israel, Palestine, okay, all the neocons are saying stay out of it, and that Jews should not be, annihilating women and children. And that makes you.
They're brown, David. They're brown Muslims, though. Like,
yeah, but they're not Jews.
I don't care how many dead Muslims. Who's that fucking guy, dude? Drive to his house and punch him.
The guy who said he's okay with all the dead kids.
Yeah, dude. Like, I'm all for freedom of speech, but jeez Louise, dude.
Yeah,
I'm for also you getting your ass kicked for being an idiot.
Right, and this is
don't jail him. Just beat them up. Like,
This is why I'm all for freedom of speech, because when people, it allows people to openly say shit like that, and then everyone can go, fucking done with this guy. That's
yeah, fuck
crazy.
that guy. Yeah.
Dead kids, dude. Celebrating dead kids. Let's just agree that's not cool. It's the whole premise behind the baby Hitler thing. Does everyone realize that? Doesn't everyone realize that's the whole moral dilemma in the baby Hitler, is that you're still killing a baby? You know it's going
But
to
it's
be
Hitler, David. It's Hitler. The means
It's a
outweigh
baby,
the.
though.
The end is worth all means, Dave. We must sink the Titanic.
But it's a baby. That's the whole
Baby
point.
Hitler, David,
That's the
he
whole point.
kills millions, hundreds of millions, David. Come on. Be Thanos. The strongest choices require the strongest wills, David. Are you pulling the track to save one old man or 3 young girls, David? What are you doing?
How young are the girls?
I'm definitely saving women over an old guy. Fuck that guy.
Well, I don't know. Who's the guy, though?
He's probably a necrophiliac, David.
Will he reward you handsomely?
Oh, see, now you're in it for morality, not for women. I see how you are.
No, I wouldn't be in it for women, Ryan.
Why? Women bankrupt you. You're right, David. I like where your head's at.
See? I'm in it for yeah, there you go. I made the right
Yo,
choice.
you're going to have everything in a trust, aren't you? So she can't get shit. You're going to die. She's like, why the fuck did you leave it to the parrot? Just seemed like a better choice, any more stable. You know, it's just a stable pick. He always says, we're the same exact way. Oh, my man, James O'Keefe, man.
Let's
Look at him.
go.
Ambush
dude,
journalist at its finest, dude. Let's go.
All right, here's
him and Alex, man.
Here's O'Keefe talking about
O'Keefe Media is releasing never-before-seen footage from inside the buildings on Jeffrey Epstein's island. The island, known as Little St. James, is located in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Drones have flown overhead in the past. Independent journalists have snuck ashore, but no footage or images from inside these buildings has ever been published until now. This footage was captured about a year after Epstein's arrest. In this world-exclusive O'Keefe Media Group takes you through the kitchen inside the main mansion, a villa used for hosting high-profile visitors and events. Through our reporting, we can confirm this footage is authentic. You'll see the entire kitchen is a sterile white with stainless steel appliances.
Also, funny he said sterile white.
That's the actual paint color from Lowe's.
Yeah, can I fucking mass murder a kitchen color, please?
Yeah, I'm looking for won't get caught. And I'm looking for anti-luminal fucking silver.
I'm looking for easy wipe Clorox tile, please. Clorox impregnated tile, please. Just quickly. How come you can't sneak on the island?
Oh, it's probably just hard to climb up offshore.
Is there somebody there, David?
No, it's
that the island's not. Somebody's on site, just chilling in a former pedophile penthouse.
No, it's probably just. Well, it was for sale, I think.
Look,
recently.
crowd, Dave, buy me a ticket there. I'll break in the fucking house. I'll get a ride. I don't give a fuck. Get me down there. I'll fucking smash a window in there like the Nancy Pelosi lover.
See, this is how you get on flight logs to Epstein's Island.
What, trying to break in?
I'll get you there.
Seriously though, what do you mean tried to break in? Like, this is the first time I've actually heard of anybody like thinking about breaking. This is the Alex Jones Bohemian Grove shit. Yeah, I hid it in my jacket and I just acted cool. And got in and then gets like the craziest shit ever. And then these psychopaths had to figure out how to start operating in private. So they built fucking islands called Virgins. Isn't that funny, David?
Oh, it was named Virgin Islands first.
Yeah, what was it? Saint what? I'm sure if you looked up that Saint,
I thought he said Little Saint James. I thought it was Little Saint Jeffrey.
I think he said Saint James.
He did say Saint James, but I thought didn't Jeffrey Epstein call it Little Saint Jeffrey? Am I right about this?
I wonder why, David. Just coincidence? All right. I guess I just think it's worth mentioning that it's like I never thought about other people breaking in there, but now that I think about it, like it's kind of like, have more people tried breaking into Area 51 than Epstein's Island? Like, is that what we're talking about? They can't stop us all. We're fucking GoFundMe.
This also goes to your point too, though, where Like, I don't need the insider information from Epstein. People built the house. They had a professional chef. I'm sure maids worked there. Somebody was
There's got to be
cleaning it.
security guards, right?
Naturally, there's landscapers.
There's no fucking there's no. The whole house has cameras. Oh, that's right. The tens of thousands of hours that FBI agents are jacking their dick to child porn right now. I forgot about that. We just hire pedophiles at the federal government level.
That they've been
Don't tell me they're
watching
not
this-
watching child porn either.
They've
If they're
been watching
fucking
this-
watching girls get raped, it's child porn. They're consuming child porn. It's just as illegal as if you fucking did it at your home on your. What's the difference? Because you have a badge and it's investigative journalism. Like,
Well, they've been watching it for years, though, and
just years.
Nothing's been released. Nothing's been released.
You know what's
We don't know.
You know what's
We don't know
interesting, David?
shit.
There was this article I read years ago that talked. Mortal Kombat 10, Mortal Kombat X or whatever came out like quite a while ago. But there's like an X-ray function that, like, when it breaks the people's teeth, it zooms in.
Mhm.
Okay, the people that has to be created, right? Like rendered in a fucking, and they have to make those. And the artists that were doing the animation were getting PTSD because they were basically watching continuous, like, and the thing looks so real, right? It's literally human anatomy, right? Getting broken and snapped and slammed to the ground and stabbed. And if that traumatized video game directors, you know what I mean? What is 10,000 hours of Epstein film doing? Not that all 10,000 hours is fucking, but
Sure. No, that's
it's
crazy. They were getting PTSD from that. Huh?
PTS. It was a news article. Yeah, I bet you punch it, it'll come up. We don't got to do it now, but
Fake news.
My photographic
There are
news
sparse
memory.
decorations, including a few pieces of coral, but there does appear one prominent artwork, a large framed photo of a nude baby in a sink. The baby is holding a phallic-shaped object. The image is hung above the kitchen table. It begs the question, why did Jeffrey Epstein choose to place this image inside of a kitchen where visitors would eat, cook, and entertain? The publication of this footage comes on the heels of a report last week of a royal fixer admitting Prince Andrew had sex with underage girls. And also after a report last week on Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Yeah, and it's all with little kids.
Since those reports aired, we've
Not young
received
girls, little kids.
outreach and tips, and we've heard from these sources that they don't trust anybody due to the lack of transparency and accountability in the United States government. We increasingly find ourselves in a circumstance where none of the criminals in the most powerful institutions in America are held to account for anything. And yet I report to you today, the truth always finds a way, and courage begets courage, which we know is happening as a result of these reports, because people are coming forward to us. Now, for the first time, I'm going to take you on a tour inside the buildings on Epstein Island in a series of video reports. We'll be dropping more soon. Support us and continue to look for our next breaking news on our website at o'keefemediagroup.com.
That's crazy. So they have more videos inside the mansion.
Where'd the picture come from?
Yeah, it's just your standard, probably Bed Bath and Beyond.
Oh, that's like the picture they leave in there that you're supposed to take out and like put your family photo in or whatever.
Yeah, it's just the naked baby sink penis picture. You know,
Was it a real baby too, or a plastic? Wasn't a toy baby?
it kind of looked like a real baby.
Kind of seemed real, right?
Seemed like a real baby.
So who's the baby in the photograph?
It's probably the same baby from the Nirvana album cover.
On the cover? Well, maybe he'll sue Epstein and get his... I'm glad we both went there, dude. Yo, isn't that crazy? There was baby dick right on fucking records.
That is fucking wild. For sure.
The 90s were the last real generation, David.
Yeah, that was something.
Give me the fucking baby dick Nirvana cover, dude.
Yeah, I don't know about the baby dick Nirvana. I don't know if I would have went for that.
That's bold, dude. Rape me and my friend, dude.
Tim Tebow is he's a fucking legend, right?
That's a terrible fucking segue. I'm sorry, dude.
I wasn't looking for a segue. I'm just going.
E-ball of all segues.
Yeah, I'm not taking your segue. I'm just fucking going.
This shit pissed me off when I heard it. I had to stop listening.
Well, you're gonna keep listening.
Share with you. Is this map?
Viewer discretion advised is kind of fucking graphic.
Every
Not gonna lie.
red dot on that. So first of all, that is a DOJ law enforcement map. It's called the red dot map, and every this is over the last 30 days, and every red dot on that map is at least one unique IP address of individuals downloading, sharing, distributing child abuse and rape images under the age of 12. And there's over 111,000 of them just in the US of the last 30 days. Wow. And I wanted to bring that because I think it brings to life so much of the evil that we're trying to face. And people will say, well, that's just over there and it's in those countries and it's all of those places. And it's not, Sean, it's right here in our backyard. It is right here. And out of,
he said unique
some people
too.
will say, okay,
unique
well they're just downloading and sharing it and distributing it, but they're not.
Yeah, it is 111,000 separate IP addresses downloading child porn in 30 days.
And then that one IP address obviously could be thousands of computers if it's scaled, right? Like if they're taking it and fucking mass producing it, selling it, or some crazy shit.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, you can have multiple computers on the same IP.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your phone is all on the same.
And that same IP isn't one instance either. It's 111,000 separate IPs, and how many of them could have done multiple times, and how many of them were multiple computers on the same IP. So it's
just clearly one picture, David. Just
that 111,000 number is the low ball minimum figure.
That's gross, dude. Gross.
55 to 85% are also hands-on offenders, and your average offender has 13 victims in their lifetime.
What was that figure? 55 to 85%
are hands-on abusers.
Of that 111,000.
Yeah, so we're talking 50 to 80,000 people. And 13, what's 13 times 50,000? You know, like that's how many people they're fucking up, dude. Oh my God, dude.
Teen victims. Every one of those red dots is there's a boy or girl that is suffering on the other end of what they're sharing, downloading, or distributing. And I wanted to share that with you because I know that your heart breaks for them. And I think that map brings to life the evil that we're trying to fight. And it's why, one of our hearts is to get the Renewed Hope Act passed through Congress, because it takes the law enforcement officers right now and victim identification officers at C3, and they're amazing. Some of my favorite people in the world, but there's 7 of them right now at C3.
There's how many?
7.
7 people to
7 officers.
Hey, do you remember that news article we read? That the reason that the airplane crashed was because they didn't have enough air traffic controllers, David?
Yeah. And which was misleading because there was one guy who did his job perfectly and said, hey, turn left, and she ignored him because he was probably mansplaining to her, of course.
That's almost like women can't handle pressure, the same thing.
Do you remember, Ryan, do you remember under the Biden administration, they hired 87,000 IRS employees?
I do remember, actually.
87,000 IRS employees were hired under Biden. There was 7 employees
to go after
who
child
work on child sex trafficking. Is that real? 7.
Well, maybe the budget.
And also, ICACs are working.
Maybe.
Isn't it funny the government's not funding to stop child pedophilia? Like, isn't that odd? Like, right? No, dude, right there. If the Punisher was a real person, that number would be going down every day. Do you know what I mean?
I'm sure it's all V, Brian. Maybe they just didn't. Maybe they just don't know that they're understaffed.
Well, I wonder how many of those are government employees, David.
Out of the 111,000?
Yeah.
All
Sure,
of
there's
them?
got to be a couple pedophiles. What, all the government employees are pedophiles, David? That would be.
Check Biden's IP address on that fucking map.
Where's Hunter Biden's IP address?
Fucking his
Love ICAC,
Dude, you know
and we
if
need to
Trump's
enhance their
address was on
funding
there,
'cause
it'd be all over the fucking place. If an IP address of like Trump or somebody was on there, it'd be all over the fucking place.
they desperately need it. Internet crimes against children, and they're awesome. 62 locations around the country, but primarily the ones that are also working on this are at C3. And we want to get the Renewed Hope Act passed because it would take it from 7 to 200. And now we have a much greater chance
Better.
if we have all of those officers that are trained and equipped to be fighting against this evil. And again, that's the last 30 days. And that's not getting into live streaming or sextortion or grooming or so many of the other issues we're fighting. That is just in peer-to-peer networks of them sharing and distributing child rape images under the age of 12.
This is
That's under the
12 and
age of
under.
12 as
12
well.
and
That's not
under.
13 to 17. Fuck, dude.
correct. 12 and under only.
Which is, oh my God, dude, it's crazy.
111,423 unique IP addresses.
And some people will say, well, that's just, they're just downloading it and they're just sharing it. And no, it's not just that easy. You have to go in, you have to download it, just, a peer-to-peer, and then you have to be able to download all of these images, and then you're sharing them. It's not like this just happens by accident. It's not like, oh, I just looked at a bad picture, and it's not like this is a photo of a baby in a bathtub. No, so many of these are brutal
And people went to
abuse of
Epstein's Island.
children. And when we go back to those 50,000 boys and girls that are unknown in the ICSA database that we were talking about before, out of those 57,000, over 3,000 of them were infants or toddlers.
Holy fuck.
And so if you say what's on our heart, and these are boys and girls that can't fight for themselves. They can't defend themselves. And yet so many of us, myself for so long, did nothing to defend or stand up for them. And it is our heart that we would rally an army, and maybe we would even declare a national emergency to fight this evil. If this is happening in our backyard, and out of all those that have been rescued from, or out of all those that have been, safeguarded and rescued from Renewed Hope 1, 2, and 3, more than half of those boys and girls have been right here in the U.S. So we think it's over there, it's over there, it's over there. No, yes, it is happening in other places, but it is happening in our country, right here, in our neighborhoods, in our backyards, in our families. And then we get into the fight against live streaming. And do you know the number one payer of live stream rape of boys and girls around the world? U.S. Not close. And in peer-to-peer sharing, we're third. China, Russia, America.
Can you pause it? Can I tell you what I think that is psychologically, David?
Go on.
We are zapped to dopamine, and the only thing people can get off on is the shit that's the most taboo. Remember how we're all kings and queens, right? We have, like nobody had paved floors fucking 10,000 years ago, and everybody's floor, like we literally live greater than most people ever. Like this is just a weird runaway dark part of human nature that if you don't get on top of your lust, right? That's one of the 7 deadly sins, David. If you don't get on top, know thyself. You don't get on top of yourself, what can happen to you? Don't. Jordan Peterson always said, don't practice what you preach is literal, right? Like don't do something you don't want to become. That's fucked up, dude. It's not even close, he said.
Yeah.
People are working right now to go buy child porn with their paycheck. That is fucking crazy.
Yeah, Mike. I do agree. Dead pedophile can't reoffend.
Also, if Trump is going to go through and deport immigrants for fucking picking tomatoes without a birth certificate, he better do something. I didn't know these numbers were like this, but I didn't know these numbers were like this. And I would wager nobody
Maybe in process of losing Ryan here. There he goes.
It always cuts off at the same time.
Hey, there he is.
Yeah, if I don't think anybody really realized these numbers.
No, I didn't.
It's not. It's probably not looked into, and it's really probably hard to get all that data, David, with 7 people looking at it.
Yeah, I truly.
Dude,
yeah, it is. That is.
They spend money to inject rats with fucking shit and all the like, and they can't fund to fucking stop children. I'm sure Zuckerberg's got all the mass metadata on that, though, David. But that doesn't matter. Right?
It's 111,000 IP addresses. IP addresses are completely trackable. I mean, this is fucking completely unacceptable.
Sorry, I do get fired up about it.
I do too, man. It's how are you combating this?
Well, we're trying to do it in every area in every way possible, whether that's with partnerships and nonprofits and law enforcement and rallying and task forces and legislation and lobbying, trying to get them to enhance the army per se in fighting this. And that's really what the Renewed Hope Act is for. But it's also getting the Renewed Hope operations more and more and more. And we're having more and more every day. But it's also, creating awareness. And I hate to use awareness because people say it all the time, and I don't want awareness for awareness sake. I want people to be aware so we act to do something. I think we really have to change laws and legislation, and I believe there's a lot of people in Congress and in DC that want to change it, but we have to get it done. We have to protect these boys and girls, and I know we have to figure out budgets and balances and all these important things, but what does it matter if we figure out a budget but our boys and girls in our backyard are being raped and abused? Like, let's make the main thing the main thing. This should be a main thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this has to be a main thing.
No matter where you're watching Sean Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can.
Yeah,
got you, bro. We got you.
That's fucking crazy.
Dave, I will say that as somebody who is a stark constitutionalist, David, no, as somebody that believes in a lot of things in this country, I will tell you this. I don't believe the government's job is many, but its job is to promote the general health welfare of its civilians and its citizens and of our economy and of our commerce and all these other things. And it's supposed to be there as a safeguard to prevent shit like this from happening. And you know what? Honestly, if Silicon Valley can get away with platform and publisher, I wouldn't wager that's how these internet providers are even allowed to allow this shit to happen. Because maybe we need to. I'm not for this either.
I guarantee it. They're sure they're all platforms.
Yeah, they should be sued if they allow the shit. Like, why? Like the idea is, if you got nothing to hide, we read all your shit. Where, Facebook will self-censor. What is going on here? And then you hear about all these leaks. I know you're going to go into the Pornhub thing, but there's leaks in there about how these people they can't verify or they don't verify. There's like 3 people to verify billions of video. The whole system, man, the whole system. Get on top of your luck, boys.
Well, it is as if it was set up intentionally in such a way.
Dude, they spend billions of fucking dollars on such aimless shit. And you have 7 agents. It's just Veep, guys. There's no underground tunnels and 110,000 pedophiles across the country.
Minimum. And that's 12 and under. Those are absurd numbers. That's crazy shit. And just to
and I think the government needs to just not door to door with those IP addresses. You're armed with basically enough knowledge to start real fucking in-field operations to enough of this.
This brings me to an article I saw. Pornhub staff is worried about going to jail for child porn downloaded from their company's own website, docs show. So this is kind of what you were talking about.
What? What do you mean? That they're blowing the whistle on this? That's like,
Naturally, I'd imagine Pornhub would be a platform, right?
Well, you can't platform child pornography, David.
Pornhub let child pornography sit untouched on its website for years, including content one employee admitted would put him behind bars for a long time if it was found on his own computer. Discovery documents released in error reveal. Oh, they were released in error. Internal messages, emails, and memos from around 2020 reveal that the company is struggling to clear child pornography from its website, while executives debated measures to crack down and staff tasked with removing it made light of the situation, which is really, that's extra fucked up. The documents first reported by the New York Times, Nicholas Kristof, are part of Discovery in Alabama's class action lawsuit brought by child sex trafficker victims who alleged Pornhub's parent company, MindGeek, financially profited from distributing videos depicting their abuse. You guys want to laugh? One staff member wrote in April 7th, 2020. It caught a child pornography video from 2009, a full-on child pornography video on the website for 11 years. At one point, one staff member was told not to include a superior on-child sexual abuse material reports. He doesn't want to know how much child pornography we have ignored in the past 5 years, the employee responded. ALO, formerly known as MindGeek, told the DCNF, oh, they changed their name, that's weird.
I wonder why, David.
Its policy is not to comment on ongoing litigation. We need to respect the integrity of court proceedings. We look forward to the
integrable.
We look forward to the facts being fully and fairly aired in the forum, the company told DCNF.
Court is just a forum
company
now,
did state. The company did state it has instituted some of the most comprehensive safeguards in user-generated platform history in order to mitigate the ability of bad actors to abuse our platform and post unwanted material. One Discovery document tracking keywords show the phrases 12-year-old and 13-year-old resulted in 155,447 videos on the website, while the term 7-year-old yielded 5,387 results. Other tracked terms include girls under 18 with 146,248 videos and degraded teen at 1,537. One memo suggesting words that should be banned notes the term infant resulted in 764 videos, yet terms like childhood included 1,519 video descriptions, or forced included 548,697 descriptions, are not recommended to be banned. Holy shit. Around May 2020, there were more than 706,000 videos flagged by users for underage content or other terms of service violations, according to the internal emails. A video would only be prioritized for removal at that time if it had been flagged more than 15 times. Similar figures were also included in emails as part of Discovery and class action lawsuit filed against MindGeek in California, which Justice Defend Fund CEO Layla Mickelwaite shared in 2023. Pornhub removed more than 10 million videos from its website in December 2020 after the New York Times reported instances of child sexual abuse. Which, by the way, what is that? That's they got caught.
Omission of guilt.
They got caught, then they removed them. And they have internal communications within the company that show that they knew that these videos existed. Is this what I'm reading basically?
Yeah. They knew about it for mad long, didn't do anything, and then they got caught, and then they're like, "Hey,
then they got caught. Oh, better delete all these videos."
How'd you delete 10-minute videos so fast if you didn't know they were there?
That's crazy.
Veep, David.
I don't know if that's the text is a little different. Is that Nerd Nova Tech? Says they can't control that. Can't control what? Who's they and can't control what?
What, posting on porn? Yeah, I've heard it put that they can't control porn because there's so many videos uploaded, which granted, But
Well, there's
YouTube
7
can,
agents who could take care of that, Ryan.
yeah. If YouTube can censor us, they can figure it the fuck out. I
It
mean,
might
they
be a
made
little bit easy.
the problem is they made money on this. It doesn't matter if they can't mitigate it. They profited from it, so there has to be some kind of repercussion. Like, I'm not saying that they knew. I'm not saying they did that at all, but it probably did happen. You know,
Well, the
they
problem
showed
is
some of
they
these
have
texts trying to downplay something.
yeah, but the problem is when you have internal communications that are showing that they knew about it. That's severely problematic.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is literally Pandora's box, David, eh? But, you know, this is the whole lust thing, man. And I'll go a little further. It's kind of funny not funny. It's kind of interesting. We're seeing all these things come to light about pornography over the last 4 or 5 years here, because I didn't hear shit about porn being bad for you or anything until like the internet and the red pill picked it up and NoFap became a thing. I didn't hear anything about porn. It was just promoted and understood that boys just go and tug their dicks. That's just what we understood. You know, and in a weird way, we were socializing young men to be lustful, you know, like, which, whatever, you know, I'm privy to it too, David, obviously. Now, do I think it's better guys are jerking off the magazines and raping girls? 100%, but it's a delicate dance with everything. The point in saying all that is we didn't know the consequences, and we're now bearing the consequences when it comes to such fast internet connections and connectivity and photographs, and, you know, go further in the future, AI, because AI porn is here, right? That was one thing. The AI algorithms, they had to kind of write into there that you're not allowed to do things to children, right? Like, because AI can't generate these images either, and they kind of think that people are gonna. This is fucking dicey. If we don't do it right, we're fucked, you know, and we're getting fucked. Kids are literally fucking suffering, and then on top of it, they know about it. They're not. 10 million videos, you could have done that a long time ago. There's probably triple that amount of videos on there if you got rid of 10 million videos. Is a lot of videos.
It is a lot of videos. You know, you said something too that was interesting. Talking about you know, it's better what they're doing than running around and raping girls. Which is like watching porn and whatever, which I get. But, and I'm not saying everyone who watches porn and fucking jerks off is gonna rape a girl. But
There's
there is
a wide spectrum here.
Well, but yeah, sure. But there is a nice correlation though, where people who can control themselves enough to not get addicted to porn and constantly jerk off and be a loser, the people who are able to kind of have that control over themselves are way less likely, almost not at all chance, that they're going to do anything like that, any form of rape or sexual abuse.
Well, David, because it creates a self-feedback mechanism, because one of the things women love about a guy is when they feel safe around him, especially sexually safe. That's like one of the reasons why they like kind of have sex with you, is that they feel safe with you, right? But like, if you can control your lust and not watch porn, it kind of is like teaching yourself how to control your lust when you're with a woman. You know, Jordan Peterson always talks about the reason why women really love dancing psychologically in a way is because they're basically testing your capacity to keep your hands to yourself, because a man that has discipline is attractive to women, right? Because they want to know that you're not going to go sleep around with all these women if they turn their back. You know, it's kind of weird how all these things kind of feed back into themselves about men and women in this attraction game that we all dance. But yeah, David, to just like, there's psychological fact to that, you know, that like women find sexual discipline attractive because they don't want you cheating on them. And in theory, when you abstain from porn, you're training your brain to not cheat on your wife in a way, right? Because, you know what I mean? Like, you're training yourself to have the sexual discipline that is necessary for women to find you attractive enough in the first place to even have sex with them. So then you're not just jerking off. But then it's also the catch-22 that if you haven't got laid in fucking 6 years, maybe jerking off is saving that guy's life. And the only reason he hasn't blown his brains out is because he has video games and VR pornography. So I don't know. I don't know. I do know that when I haven't been sexually active in my life, it caused me frustration as a man. That's part of being a man. It's part of growing. It's, you know, to go further, it's part of the reason why you get back out in the game, right? Like, if you were always like, oh, I don't want to fuck, you would never go get a girlfriend in the first place. So when you jerk off, you're stealing your motivation to go get laid anyways. all the same. I think it more than it being fucking disgusting, and then hearing the shit Sean Ryan had on with Tim Tebow there, short of that shit being disgusting, to like go even further into like further down, like this is kind of like showing like just how entrenched our deep rooted biology is into our society and our psychology when it comes to politics and policies. Because we all can agree you probably shouldn't fuck kids. In most instances, Dave, I'm not going to talk about the fucking, what is it, minor attracted person or whatever, fucking A.
Pedophile.
But yeah, literally. But it's just showing like how entrenched this shit really is. And you got to, like, granted, I've heard all this stuff from very smart people and psychologists and biologists. But when you read this and we're talking about it, and kind of, it's like not everybody's putting all the pieces together on why like your inability to control lust is important. It's important because if you don't control your lust, you're promoting Pornhub from profiting from child pornography directly. You going on their website pays them with their data and ad revenue that they get off your info, off the very IP address that Tim Tebow had. They get paid on that. So every time you go log on these sites, you're promoting child pornography, and then you're creating and incentivizing the very system that is destroying parts of our psyches as men. This isn't even about the country. This is like, you know, if you have daughters, if you want to have a girl, like girls have to deal with men being like this. And if you're not like this, they think like this is fucking deep. Mating is the deepest thing. The next closest is money. But they're the deepest things that we fucking deal with. And we're handling them just open-handed. We're not trying to grasp anything and be, this is one of the problems when you start fucking with sex and ideology and gender. It's a problem in general, but this whole thing that it's just a spectrum, and you can't just like, you can't take the top off something like that. You can't open the box on something like that because it's took humans millions of years to develop like the senses to make sense of the fucking world and mating and pheromones and being horny and be like, that's a lot of things to balance. And then stick the fucking phone that's literally a bug zapper, LCD, blue light, fucking transgramography brainwashing frequency to attract you to go look at, research, and promote child pornography by a multi-trillion-dollar industry. If you think big pharma is bad, big porn is worse than big pharma, the military-industrial complex, and any of those other ones put together. And that came from somebody that worked at Pornhub, that was on Jordan Peterson, and talked about how fucking bad big porn is. The porn industry is the worst. I wouldn't be surprised if it was ran by Satan, David. Might as well be. The government's ran by a fax machine. Pornhub is ran by Satan.
He says internet's uncontrollable and they try to remove them. Yeah.
Internet is not uncontrollable. How's it uncontrollable? There's IP addresses. You have a social security number to every one of those fucking things. It's not.
No, I think to his point, the scale of the internet is it's a thing that is so large. And there's ways, but the size and the scale of this problem cannot be understated. And that's why when Tim Tebow said 7 people, 7 people, 7. Like that's just
this should be the largest branch of the fucking government. If we're going off necessity to once again promote the general welfare of our citizens, we're talking our children. They legally can't even fucking vote. They're relying on us to get them to fucking 18 without being fucked. Literally, financially, at school, whatever the fuck it is. That's our job as older people. And we're just like, because you're fucking, our dopamine, the fucking dopamine thing is crazy, dude. The screens took over. The machines won. 100 million videos? You'll never even watch 1 million porn videos in your life. That's like 100 trillion times the amount of... That's more time than you'll have on Earth. You can watch child porn until the day you die? Nonstop, never the same thing? Are you fucking serious? We can't do nothing? You can't do nothing. Dude, next you're going to tell me electricity isn't scalable. There's a fucking power station on every corner. Put a fucking pedophile officer on every fucking corner. The war on drugs, the drug game, you got MRAP tanks and military gear for our fucking local cops. Cops have brush guards. They have brush guards to pull me over and fucking M16s. We have 70 people across the country stopping hundreds of millions of videos and 100,000 monthly pedophiles minimum, unique pedophiles, David. That's supposed to be good enough for me. Yeah, the internet is unscalable, bro. I get that. That's why we have the fucking IP addresses. How's it unscalable if everybody has internet access? There's an inlet to the internet somewhere. Just because I post on the back half of it doesn't mean that the thing before it is connected to something. The internet is all connected. They can look up anything they want. Don't let them tell you otherwise. They know every kilowatt of electricity used in this country. They know where all the data's going for the fucking kiddie porn. They know. I'm not waiting for the facts. I'm not waiting for comments on YouTube to pull up an article. Not a knock to you guys. I don't believe them. And I'm an electrician. And I know that I get electricity at an outlet in Buffalo that comes from water in Niagara Falls. They can track the fucking data. They know where it's coming from. They always have. They just lied to you because they don't want to let you know that they have mapped the human condition at a militaristic level. Because once you start untying that, you'd be like, wait a minute, how the fuck do you know all this? Be like, well, we have this system here that's just Trojan horsed into everything, David, because we're supposed to have the illusion of privacy, right? That's why they can't. That's why they can't tell you, because they'd admit they violated everybody's civil fucking liberties, which is illegal.
Well, we stumbled upon that article. We stumbled into that article from Argentina or something where they said, like, literally they know which girls are going to get pregnant based on where they live and what their income level is.
Their internet, their water, if their dad's in the house, how many people, how many beds, if they have a fucking stove, and you're going to tell me they can't stop child porn or track it down on the internet because it's just too big. You're out of your mind, bro. You believe the lie. It worked. Propaganda worked. What was media malpractice, David? Because they're doctors? Because they precisionally cut you open with lies? I'm not doing this with these people. They're fucking psychopaths. They're known narcissistic psychopaths. That's why they're in that job. They probably pick your kids and then steal them and go and fuck them. Call me conspiracy theorist. Andrew Cuomo handpicked the girls that he was molesting. The governor of New York State was handpicking his favorites, Dave. I'm sure he liked blue eyes being Italian. Just a guy that had known princes, had a picture of a baby in water. Fine.
Mike says
internet's not controlled. They try to remove them.
Mike says Trump won't do
anything. I don't deny that. I'm not.
He's one of the weirdos. Look at what he said about his daughter.
Okay. Yeah, my daughter. If I was my daughter, I'd sleep with her or marry her or something. He said I'd be with my daughter too or something.
I think he said he would date her or something.
Yeah, something.
I don't know. Like you want to? I don't know. What? I don't know.
Don't you think that woman would have came out and said my dad fucking raped me? Serious question.
You mean like Biden's
Just serious
daughter.
question. Just
Biden's
serious
daughter
question. Just
Put it
serious
in her
question.
Fucking diary.
Tell me how all your kids are successful and none of them came out and said, fuck this guy. Come on, I'm waiting. I'm fucking waiting, people. There ain't no other politician in modern history that they took all of his valuations of all of his stuff and devalued it the way they did that guy. And I'm supposed to believe it's because he's the bad one? Real estate property is real estate property. A judge doesn't set that. Sorry. That lets me know that it's not Veep, David. That's weird. Why is it not Veep? Oh, they don't like they don't like a guy being president that's the richest guy ever? You mean the most uncontrollable president that there's ever been because he's not relying on anybody for wealth? That's weird. Do you ever think that, like, this is just a wet dream, a Trump wet dream that all the Trumpkins have? that he knows the plan and he's setting his family up to save everybody so he can go down in history as the greatest man to ever live, the new George Washington. You ever hear that? And for the same people that say he's an egomaniac, we're supposed to believe that wouldn't be a reason to do it. I don't think he's that smart fully. I do believe he has a very, very big ego because he had to come from a place. Building buildings in downtown New York City, David, isn't for the light of skin. I work in construction, building the actual buildings. I get told to fuck off some days. Just happens. I can't imagine trying to get the bank and get the business and get the 700 floors and you're shut.
And then put your name right on it.
Big golden fucking staircase.
Big gold. Yeah, that's
And you know what? I'll share a story. Ty Lopez says, he said Donald Trump shares it in his book. There was one time Donald Trump was $3 billion in the hole. $3 billion in debt, people, okay? And he was standing on a street corner. He's in his suit or whatever. And there's a homeless guy sleeping on a corner. And Donald Trump laughed to himself and said, that guy's richer than I am. And he went along his day. Just didn't bother him. He didn't stress about being $3 billion in debt. He's just like, fuck it. We'll get out of this.
I think it gets to a point though where it's like it doesn't matter at some level.
Well, you're kind of your own bank, like Elon's his own bank.
Yeah, I think at some level it's whether it's 3 billion or fucking 100,000, it don't matter anymore. Ryan, before we get out of here, Ryan, I titled this episode about the South Africans, so we can't not talk about it. There's a lot of people are worked up, Ryan, because South Africans are coming to the United States.
White South Africa. It's so funny. I asked you what color they were, and that's literally the fucking. Who ruled South Africa?
I think that's the point.
So people are mad that white people are coming to
white
America?
South Africans arrived in the U.S. protected under Trump's carve-out. The newly arrived people are from the ethnic minority of Afrikaners, which I think are it says it, the whites. The group of whites who ruled South Africa during apartheid.
How come they're not calling them African Caucasians?
Why not African Americans? They're more African American.
That would indicate, David, that all Africans are black. David, you have to differentiate. These are Caucasian African Americans.
By the way, we're freaking out over 59 legal migrants.
Well, it's just a few boots on the ground, David.
Oh, just a few boots. American officials welcomed a group of 59 white South Africans. Gotta make sure it says white. At Washington Dulles International Airport on Monday afternoon in a ceremony.
Yo, hold up, Dave. Hold up. Do people not know there's white South Africans and that's why they have to say? Is this like a legit education moment?
No. I don't think that's why. I think they say white South African because, well, they have to clarify because remember what they're trying to do is ignite a race war.
Okay, David. I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. They were just trying to educate the non.
No benefits, no doubt. They get nothing.
No health care for the media.
Jake Tapper wrote a book about Biden's cognitive decline. They get no benefit and they get no doubt.
What do you mean, David? On what basis was he supposed to ask about the decline?
The newly arrived people are from the ethnic minority of Afrikaners, the group of whites who ruled South Africa during apartheid. The dozens that came Monday include families with young children arrived via a flight chartered by the State Department. Their resettlement in the U.S. comes as the Trump administration has shut down refugee admissions from almost all other countries, including Afghanistan, Sudan, the Republic of Congo, and Myanmar. The Africans were met on arrival by U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau and Department of Homeland Security Deputy Secretary Troy Edgar. Landau said that Trump's pause of the U.S. refugee program was from the very beginning subject to exceptions when it was determined to be in the interest of the United States. He cited examples of when the refugees could be assimilated easily into our country. That is the most key of points.
What do you mean, David? Like similar values and culture and religion and beliefs and pro freedom and life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Freedoms of difference of religion is okay, and freedom of speech. Is that what he's? I assume.
I believe so.
Okay, just making sure that we're in agreement about what America is, David.
He's saying the white South Africans or the Afrikaners are not Africans. Go say that to blacks. I would say it to a black guy for sure.
Who said
Actually,
that?
I specifically have made a joke about Elon Musk being African.
Have you guys ever?
Black guy.
You ever hear about the Hawaiian thing? There's 3 terms of Hawaiianers. Like, there's native Hawaiians that are like they look native Hawaiian. They got tan skin like Maui. And then there's native Hawaiians that are not like Native American native, but they were born on the island. Like their whole life they lived in Hawaii. And then they have a term for people that move there. And also, for the record, I've heard about white tribes in Africa that predate this article for millennia, okay? White people were in Africa before this, before colonization. I don't want to hear about this.
Mike said if they are white, they will integrate easier. That's what it sounds like. No, it doesn't have anything to do with the color of their skin, Mike.
Yeah, Trump didn't say they could be assimilated into our culture because they're white.
They tell quite harrowing stories of the violence that they faced in South Africa that was not redressed by the authorities by their unjust application of the law, Landau said. The United States, as we were proud to say, has stood for equal justice under law and fair and impartial application of the law. In an executive order issued on February 7th, Trump said that the United States would help with resettling Afrikaner refugees escaping government-sponsored race-based discrimination, including racially discriminatory property confiscation. He condemned what he called the country's shocking disregard of citizens' rights, specifically stating that the government had seized agricultural property of white Afrikaners without compensating them. So this stems from a policy. They live in Africa, but were referred to as white, not Africans. But if you're in Africa, you're an African.
No, they're fucking Africans with white skin. What is so hard about that? They're Caucasians in Africa.
That's like saying only
if I go to Africa,
Americans.
it's like when my ancestors came here and shit me out. I'm an American. They're African. They're fucking native African. J.R.R. Tolkien, the guy that wrote Lord of the Rings, is from Africa. He was born in England, but he moved there, was a citizen of Africa, the whole 9. He was known as an African, dude. Crazy. But he was a white guy. I think he was born there, actually. But he had native residence because of the war and shit. Whatever. Long time ago.
The executive order also said the United States would no longer provide aid or assistance to South Africa. It came after a new South African land law went into effect and seems to reflect the views of Elon Musk, the head of the Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, who was born and raised in South Africa. The law has been depicted by some whites in South Africa and
why
some
wouldn't
on the
you
right
say
in the
that
US.
Elon Musk, who is African?
Well, South
He wasn't.
African. He's a white guy who's South African.
He has an American father. Like, that's the
South
loophole. But he was born in South. See, this is the fucking. He was born in South Africa. That's why he can't be a president.
I think what you're saying is that Africans don't view them as African, but what I'm saying is I reject their opinion, and I'm saying they're African.
The government of Africa says they're Africans. And you know what? That whole statement of him saying is I was wondering why Trump is offering 59 people. Like, what is the fucking point of this? But then they're saying it's based on them being basically white farmers in a black country. Is that what is that basically what this is happening?
Well, here's the thing. There's a policy that came out, and I guess white non-Africans in Africa, if this is what we're supposed to say now, the citizens of Africa who are white but not African, they owned an overwhelmingly large amount of agricultural land. So the government decided that in Africa, the African government in Africa, over its non-African citizens,
the black African government in Africa
decided it was going to take the land if it was unused for agricultural purposes, even though the white non-Africans from South Africa, even though they produce most of the crops for all the real Africans in Africa. They were going to take their land from them.
If I hear that Africans are starving in a month, I'm going to laugh so fucking hard.
Now you're laughing at starving Africans, Ryan.
Just the white ones, David, not the black
Well, those
ones.
are the
That'd be
non-Africans.
racist.
In February, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa pushed back on claims that it was a land grab. Hold on. You don't get to take land and then say it's not a land grab. It's by definition a land grab. That's a hell of a. They recently adopted expropriation act is
Yo, do you
not
see-
confiscation instrument, but a constitutionally mandated legal process that ensures public access to land in an equitable and just manner as guided by the Constitution.
Equitable, David.
Equitable, meaning you
Not-
don't have to earn it. Here's your land.
Yeah, we just all get. Gee, I like this one right here. Discussion about the laws fit in a larger narrative on the American right about white South African farmers supposedly being killed in large numbers, something Trump talked about his first term, in which Musk referred to as genocide, even though there's no data to support that. You mean no data from South Africa of them murdering farmers in the middle of rural areas?
Wait, hold on.
Burying?
The very next paragraph, the New York Times reported that 101 out of 225 people killed on farms in South Africa were black, current, or former workers living on farms. Of that number, 53 were farmers who are usually white. So, hold on. They reported that, in fact, there were people being.
Maybe they're getting hung up on genocide as being termed used like
scale.
Now that I think, yeah, like it's not enough white
Like
people have died to call it a genocide, David.
Yeah,
That's
not enough people.
53 white people. Yeah, 53 is not enough.
Not enough. I need way more white people to die.
It's just based on skin color, David. No worries. We're just killing all the white Africans, not the black ones. They're fake Africans, David. Look at them.
Wait, what?
Show me your star.
I don't. Yeah. Interesting. Farmers are being killed, Trump told reporters. They happen to be white. Whether they are white or black makes no difference to me. White farmers are being brutally killed and the land is being confiscated in South Africa, which the article does not dispute. What's happening in South Africa fits the textbook definition of why the refugee program was created, Miller said. This is race-based persecution. The refugee program is not intended as a solution for global poverty, and historically, it has been used that way.
Like bringing Jews like Albert Einstein to America to build the Manhattan Project, David, so they could flee Nazi-ran fucking Europe. Like Oppenheimer, David? Nah, just bring all the rapists and murderers. Don't bring the fucking Jew scientists to build the atomic bomb. Leave that guy in Germany. Fuck Oppenheimer.
Oh, the guy in our chat wanted me to tell an African guy that South African whites are still African, and I think El Kabulin African Conversations is probably African. Hey, El Kabulin, South Africans are African. White South Africans are African. Are we good? Are we good? Did I do it now? Tell me land that was taken in my country? Yes. That is correct. That is correct.
Oh, he's actually saying that. Yes, they live in Africa, but are referred to as whites, not Africans. I'm telling you, if I've been to Africa, that's why they said it's radical. If they are killing, why majority of white South Africans says it's not true, and they are not going anywhere. Yeah, exactly. Tell MW one land that was taken in my country. Modern Warfare 1? What?
Holy shit. I don't know. The same reason people in the Gaza Strip aren't leaving the Gaza Strip. Am I wrong? I don't know. The same reason. The same reason Jews during Nazi Germany didn't leave Poland.
They weren't allowed to.
Like because they didn't all leave. It's not allowed to be it's not allowed. It's not true. What's the argument here?
Yeah, I'll leave this. Thomas Sowell. Do we know who he is? Everybody, we know who Thomas Sowell is. He's a black intellectual. Okay, and some would say he's conservative leaning. David, I wouldn't put that
Is he
label on
black
him.
or is he African, Ryan?
Well, he's African American, David, and I would encourage everybody to go follow. I don't know if he's still alive.
Ryan,
He's
you
very
can't be
old.
African. So he had dual citizenship. He was African and American.
No, he's a brother. He's an American brother.
So he's a black American.
Yeah, he's fucking. I said that.
Yeah, but he wasn't African American.
They call themselves African American, David. They call themselves African American.
What else do they call themselves?
America.
Ryan, what else do they call themselves?
Could you imagine if I call myself European American? You know what I mean? Like, I know I say I'm Polish American, but I don't say that. I say my family's from Poland. Like, I don't give a fuck that they're Polish. Now, that could be my upbringing, David, because I didn't have grandparents to teach me tradition, which is why I'm a wild animal. But I think this article just summarizes perfectly that most governments around the world, including our own, for as bad as it is way better than most. And, like, every time I read one of these stories or every time I think about the government grabbing land from its civilians and just bulldozing shit. I know we have eminent domain here, and that's bad enough, but there's no simple solution. I don't necessarily think whatever you do in this situation. I don't know if we necessarily just ship people into our country because they're facing discrimination, but I would like to think that atrocities of the world are supposed to be going down. And I recognize, at least in this country, David, that the reason that we have a lot better than other people is because men long ago made sure that was going to be possible. And it continues on every day because the difference between South America murdering white farmers and people in America murdering white farmers may not be too far from each other. Because it seems like we've talked about how culture and politics have now smashed together. And we've talked about it on the show for many years now, history, religion, politics. We're now seeing directly now, though, that culture is now swaying politics almost at a day-by-day basis. And in the day and age where all the media and all the pundits and all these other people are shape-shifting chameleons, literally, David, they're reptilians, as well as symbolically. We don't know where they fall, but they're also just up there getting money, just like Jake Tapper, as he's double dipping and having a 360 deal. So when I see articles like this, as great as this is, we bring them in, we're trying to have this race bait. We know they're doing a race war. We've seen it for years and years now. I just hope we realize that, like, you know, as great as it is, man, this shit's fragile, and we're not too far away from doing similar shit to each other. And I got to level with you. I don't know what is going to happen with immigration going forward with all of, you know, these mass deportations we're seeing reported and all this stuff. And, you know, I don't know how we'll look historically at some of these things, but it's been interesting to just watch a lot of this shit develop. This first, you know, what are we in the first 6 months of Trump here in his second term? And it just seems like the media is just dialing everything up. It's odd to me also, David, and then we'll get out of here, that as the attack on Trump's dial up, they're releasing all the truths about all the things about COVID and Joe Biden, and they're using the pump up, fluff up of the Trump bullshit as smokescreen so that they can tell the truth and not get caught. And I know we've said on the program, I will not follow signs that empowers authoritarians, and I will never make them forget that they targeted us because we were telling the truth. But everything will work out the way it's supposed to. And I truly believe that, you know, the greatest change that we make, especially here on the program, Dave, is that we just show up every day and every week and we talk amongst each other. The comment section today is great. That's good. This does more to motivate and change politics and culture than anything that's going to happen at the Trump administration all the way down to the local level. So, as always, Dave Ryan, December 1773. Catch us on Rumble for the greatest podcast in all of human history. As always, David, I appreciate you the most, and I will see everybody tomorrow.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ryan.
I'll see you when I am a Caucasian American.